What's up, guys? Today we are in the garage and we are going to be checking out the bass fishing closet. This is where I keep all my bass fishing stuff, and today we're just going to be going through it. We're just going to be taking a little tour through it. In this video, I am just going to be showing you guys what I keep in here. I'm not going to be really going in depth on any baits or how I use them. This is primarily just going to be a video where I show you what I got. And yeah, but before we get into it, I'm going to show you something that is not in the closet that I usually keep in the closet, and that is my rods. They're not in there for the video because it gets kind of crammed. But yeah, let's get to the rods and get this video started. Alright guys, so here are the rods. I'm not going to be going too in-depth on them right now. I will probably do a video here in the future of all my rods, kind of how I use them, where I use them, when I use them, for what stuff. But I do have 3 bait casters and 3 spinning rods. So yeah, stay tuned for a video in the future. I'll go over everything about my rods. But let's get into the good stuff right here. So this is kind of a little 360 real quick of the closet. It's not very big, but it holds a lot of stuff. So let's just get started right up here. So up here, we got a bunch of different things. We got a speaker, we got a lure retriever. We also have some stuff like sunglasses. We got a couple knives, a scale, and that's really all I keep up here. I don't keep too much up here. And then on this top row, we just got some of my plaques, some pictures of fish I have, some more trophy plaques, and more pictures of fish. So let's move down here. And right here, sitting here, is just some lures that I don't really need in a box right now or are out of rotation. But like these are just so beat up, I don't even use them anymore. But this is like just a giant jerk bait, and then this is an A-rig right here. We got a nice little A-rig, and then we just got a high school World Fishing Finals thing there. But let's move down into my terminal tackle. That is the section right here. It's the terminal tackle section. And let's start all the way up at the top here. At the top row here, we have all my tungsten, bullet, and worm weights. We go from 3/16 to quarter to 3/8 to half, 5/8, all the way up to 1.5 ounce weight. And those are all tungsten on that top row. Then we move down, we got the lead bullet weights and our drop shot weights. And then we have the Nico weight section. I do have a few tungsten and some lead Nico weights in this little peg right here. And then we got some skirted ones in a couple different sizes there. Moving down, we got drop shot weights, wacky worm weights, and then these right here are really cool. I just started using them this year. They're from Z-Man, although you can make your own with just whatever the springs are with these centering springs from Owner. You can kind of make your own, probably cheaper, but I didn't feel like making them. But you can throw those on the back of Ned rigs or dragging a worm through grass. That's when I use them. Then we got some weedless Nikos. We got a Tokyo rig peg right here. It's just some EWG hooks, flipping hooks, a bunch of different sizes on that peg. Then we have, this is for drop shotting weedless, big weedless worms. Then we got just offset straight shank hooks. We got some shaky head hooks, rugby jig heads. I really like those for smallmouth, and when the bite gets tough, you throw a big Z-Man TRD on there, get a lot of bites. Here we got just some tube jig heads, weighted wacky rigs, scrounger head, one singular scrounger head. Then we just have some ball head jig heads, some bigger swim bait heads, swinging rugby jig heads, some EWG hooks with a bullet weight on the top of them. I forget what they're called, but I don't really use them. Then we just got this, just a couple more jig heads, some weighted swim bait hooks, more swim bait hooks. We got pegs and bobber stops, some O-rings for a wacky rig tool, right? Those centering pins, some beads, and our Ned rig heads. So that is it for the terminal tackle for the most part. And I think I'm pretty good on terminal tackle. Yeah, let's just keep moving along. Down here, right below it, this box right here has all my line and all my boxes for my reels. So if I get a new reel, I put the box in here. If I get new line, I also put it in this box. So yeah, that's just where my line goes. And then let's just move over to this box right here. This box is where I keep all my stuff, like any subscription boxes, MTB, Monster Bass, Champions Club boxes. I put them all in here, as well as all of my Bassmaster magazines, stickers if I have any extra stickers. I'll also put any books or any DVDs or stuff like that relating to fishing. That kind of goes in this box. This is kind of like the library of the closet. Alright, so now let's move up here. This is the first wall of two. So there's one wall, there's another wall. So let's start at the top. So right here at the top we got all of our stick baits. So here we got watermelon, a peg of watermelon, peg of green pumpkin, peg for June bug, and a peg for black and blue. Moving on here, we got some smaller worms. These are this is a 4-inch stack of worms right here, 4-inch, and then we also just have some white worms for bed fishing or something like that. And you gotta have pink or methylated worms. Your tackle box cannot be complete without pink worms. Then we got, moving on, here we got some just Ned rig stuff. We got worms, small worms, we got some TRD hogs. Then we have green pumpkin natural colored drop shot baits in here. Different drop shot baits. And right below it, it's white or shad, more shad colored drop shot baits. Then over here we have some darker colored trick worms, or finesse worms. They're the smaller worms. Just some of the, that's in the dark color, darker tones. And then right next to it, it is the lighter tones. So right here we got like the green pumpkins, the watermelons, the pumpkin seeds. Over here we have all the grubs, 3 to 5 inch grubs. Then here we have the double tail grubs, a couple of those. And then over here we have the things like power worms or the big curly tail worms in there. Down here is where I keep all my swimming worms. So stuff like the sugarcane worm from Big Bite Baits, 13 Fishing has a swimming worm. Zoom has a couple swimming worms like that. That'll go right there. Over here we have green pumpkin crawls, and those are just kind of miscellaneous crawls that didn't have a spot somewhere else. I do have other green pumpkin crawls, but this is kind of like the miscellaneous pile. Here is where I have the darker colored black and blue June bug crawls, and then down here is where we keep the black and blue and darker colored creature baits. So beaver style baits. Here we have the flapping hog, why not? And then over here we have some of those more natural colored creature baits. Again, flapping hog, some more beaver style baits. And then down here it's more like the whites. Down here we have just a bunch of different tubes that are kind of miscellaneous. That's why they're at the bottom there. And then over here we have the toads. Now this is where I keep all my buzz toads and stuff like that. I got quite a few of them. I have to say I am a fan of the Guggen toads. I am not a fan of too much of the Guggen stuff. I don't really have much of their stuff except for some bandito bugs up there and a few kraken crawls, but their toads are very good. I do like the action on them, and that bait I will give them an A+ on, that toad right there. So let's move up to this next section here. Like I said, we got the Bandito bugs. I got a natural color and a black and blue color. Moving down, we got some Gambler ugly otters, green pumpkin, black and blues. Then we have some chigger crawls here. And the main thing on this wall is more of kind of brands go with brands. See, so like here we got only Rage Tails, but they're not split up by colors. They're just kind of with their own brand. On this one, it was more of all the stick baits. It doesn't matter what brand they are, we're just going by color. So on this wall, it's more sorted by color. On this wall here, it's more sorted by brand. So then down here we have some Bass Pro Shops tubes. This is a 2.5 size, and these are really good for smallmouth anywhere. Like this smaller tube with a 1/4 ounce short shank jig head are killer. Then we got some Sakoshi bugs right there, and back up to the top. So here we have some Exo sticks. If you couldn't tell, I really like Biospawn. Their baits have a lot of different uses, and their Exo stick is definitely a strength in their product line. They have a really unique look to them, and their action is really good. So I have a bunch of those. Missile baits, we got 3 different colors in the D-Bomb. Really good punching bait. Then we just have a bunch of different, just traditional TRDs. Then we got some Matrix crawls. And then down here is kind of like that shad bait. A lot of people like the Gary Yamamoto one, but the Gary Yamamoto Zaco is really popular for this style. But I don't need to be spending whatever, $7 on 4 of them. The Bass Pro Shops ones work just as well. I catch so many fish using the Bass Pro Shop ones, as well as the Z-Man ones. They both work great. And so we got white, green pumpkin, black and blue, and then down here we just have some pit bosses. So back up to the top here. This row down to here is Bio Bugs from Biospawn. And these are really good baits when it's colder out. Not as much action as the Vile Crawl, but still really good bait. So we have Watermelon, Okeechobee Crawl, Black and Blue, or June Bug, my bad, Black and Blue, and White. Then here, it's the same thing, kind of the same organization, but in the Vile Crawl we got Watermelon, here we got Green Pumpkin, and my favorite color of Vile Crawl is this Bama Bug color. This Bama Bug color is Green Pumpkin on one side and a June Bug on the back, and it is killer. It is killer in stained water, and it is killer in crystal clear water as well. Really good color there, really good. And these are really good jig trailers as well, really good. Then we come down here, we got a June Bug, we got Black and Blue, and White. So that's kind of the little overview. And over here we do have some more of the Exopod. Now the Exopods, they're good, but I would prefer the Rage Tail one, the Rage Menace. I think it has a little bit better action, and I think the profile, I just kind of like it a little bit better. I think it has better action and a little bit better profile than the Exopod, but that's my opinion. Still a great bait. So that's them. We got Green Pumpkin, Black and Blue, and White. So that's that. Let's move down here. We kind of skipped this section. These right here are all my jig trailers. Kind of these 2 rows all the way down to here. And my favorite bait is probably the Pack-a-Chunk by NetBait. I have so many of them, and they are really killer. In a close second, it is probably these right here. This is the Bass Pro Shops. Right there, 2.7 inch Green Pumpkin Elite Chunk Junior. Really good for when it gets cold or in the summertime. Either one, really good bait. So we got some natural colors, and then we move down into maybe like some black and blues, and then we got kind of a sapphire color and a white back there, and just a bunch of different colors of a bunch of different styles there. And then down here, the flute worm from Berkeley is a really, really good Nico bait. The best I have ever used, has great action, and it has a lot of different purposes. You can use it as net rig too, because it has little slots where you can break it off and use it as different types of worms. So moving on over here, we have the swim bait section. Starting up here, we have 4-inch and bigger white swim baits are on this peg, and then 3 to 4-inch swim baits are here. We got some 4-inch black and blues, 3-inch black and blues, and then 4-inch plus green pumpkin swim baits, and 3 to 4-inch green pumpkin swim baits. I have a lot of them. So now we're left with one section for the soft plastics, and that's right here. Now this right here, this bait is one of the best baits. This whole little section here, the Z-Crawl. The Z-Crawl is such a good and versatile bait. You'll hear me talk about it today. I talked about it in my last video, and you will hear me talk about it in the future. It is such a good bait. The Z-Crawl is a good bait, but a better bait is the Z-Crawl Junior. Yep, the Z-Crawl Junior, you can put it on the back of jigs, you can put it, I mean, anywhere. You could use it to flip, pitch, punch, trailers for jigs, swim jigs, chatterbaits, anything. It is just incredible. And X-Zone Lures did try to create a bait like the Z-Crawl, but I don't think it's as good as the original. And if you find these anywhere, you have to buy them, because they are sold out almost everywhere. Moving on, we have Ultra Vibe Speed Crawls, a couple different colors. White flukes, green pumpkin flukes. We got natural color lizards, some dirtier water, black and blues, June bugs, lizards there. And then we have a bunch of big worms. These are all my big trick worms. So we got green pumpkins, we got blacks, we got bubblegum back there, we got like a midnight dawn kind of color. Then over here is a very underrated drop shot bait. You can either go with the Megabass Hazadong shad, you can go with something like the Molix RA shad, or you can go with the Megabass Spark shad, which in my opinion is the best out of all three, although you only get 6 for $7. Here you get 8 for $7. So either one is great, but drop shotting small swim baits is such an underrated tactic, and you should definitely start doing it if you are not. So that's pretty much it for the soft plastics here, and pretty much in general this whole side of the closet we covered. But we still have to get into this little area, and this little area is packed with stuff. We have so first off, over here is kind of just like some extra plastics that I have already used, and sometimes I do keep them here because I will go and test some things out in the pool with them, and if I don't feel like, you know, using a fresh bait in the pool, I'll just come over here if I need to try something out with a fluke. Right there, I'll just pick that one up and go ahead and test that one in the pool. And now in this right here, this is really cool. This is a map of every single waterway in my state, Pennsylvania. So I don't really have a space to open it up right now, but I'm trying to find a spot for it because it is super cool. Then up here we kind of have a little bit of a workstation where I keep everything. So here we have some orange dye, some chartreuse, some garlic spray. In here is nail polish if I need to fix up a little paint job on a crankbait, or maybe paint a little orange on a spinnerbait blade. Scissors, Swiss Army knife, a little knife there. We got some clippers, braid colors / split ring pliers. We got pliers, super glue. You have to have super glue because it has so many uses when you're fishing or when you're not fishing, but for fishing, it definitely helps. We got a Sharpie and a couple different wacky rig tools and just some more clippers. So let's get into all these boxes right here. So right here is where, I mean, this is all my hard baits and skirted baits is right here. So let's get started on this side. I'm not going to go into each box and kind of open it up because that'll take so long. But I will do a video in the future of kind of going through. Maybe I'll do like skirted baits for one video, crankbaits for another video, top waters for another video. But in those videos, I will actually go through each box, show you what different crankbaits I have, and kind of just how I use them and when I would use them. But for today, we only have time to just kind of show you roughly. So in here, jerk baits. Then we got a spoon box right there. Here are all my square bills. Then down in here we have my deep diving crankbaits. Here we have my chatterbaits and swim jigs. Under that are all my spinnerbaits and buzz baits. Let's open that up real quick. So right here, all the spinnerbaits and buzz baits. That is super cool. And then below that, down there, is kind of like a box that I'll take to like a pond or something. You know, you got a little trout magnet in there, some smaller crankbaits, some hooks, you know, just stuff you would use, Senkos, stuff you would use at a pond, just for like a day, if you were just pond hopping. You just gotta take one box. Moving on, let's move down here. So these are all my medium diving crankbaits. So that's anything from around 6 to 8 to 10 foot. That's gonna be in this box right here. Swim baits, right there. And then here are like a bunch of crazy different topwater baits. So we got like ducks, turtles, spiders, beetles. I mean, a bunch of different weird stuff in that box. Right here we got hair jigs. Some shallow diamond crankbaits. I don't got too many of them. Then we got jigs. This is one of my favorite boxes right here. Jig box. And yeah, all of these are not these bottom ones here, but every other box is labeled with what they got on them. That's just to keep me nice and organized. Frog box right there. My hard top waters like whopper ploppers, poppers, twitch baits, wake baits, jitterbugs, stuff like that. Then moving back here, lipless crankbaits. And this box right here is actually where I put baits that need to be fixed up. So like if they need a hook, if they need a split ring, and then I have all the hooks and different split rings in that box. Then we just have some tubes and just some miscellaneous soft plastics back in that box. That's why they're at the bottom, because I never use them. But so that's pretty much that. Those are all my hard baits and skirted baits. And like I said, I will do a video where I go in and kind of give a more detailed breakdown of all of them. And then there's just one more thing, and that's going to be right under here. So under here on this side I keep my life jacket, my rain gears back there, some camera stuff, and then in this box I keep like extra pegs, I keep some neck buffs, I keep just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that I might need. Just right there on the top. And then in this tote there's stuff like rod repair stuff, and I got my label maker, I got extra bags, I got hats, I mean all sorts of just other miscellaneous stuff that I don't really have a spot for. that's just gonna go under here in this box. So that is pretty much gonna be it for the tackle room tour. So there's one more 360. But yeah, so this is pretty much gonna be it for the video. But like I said, I will do another in-depth video of kind of all the different bait categories and all the stuff in the hard boxes. I will go through them and make a video on it, just kind of explaining how I use everything, because there's a lot of stuff here to go through. And yeah, so just look forward to those videos. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.